NRF Instant Produce is Thailand's first publicly traded company dedicated to the manufacture of plant-based foods. NRF has food manufacturing plants in Thailand and the United Kingdom, with ambitions to acquire more as part of its growth strategy. You're clearly trying to drive Thailand's global ambition to become a leading plant-based food producer. What are you doing specifically to bring about this food revolution?
We actually take quite a global approach. And so let me start with that first from a macro perspective. What we're trying to do is we're trying to solve an industry pain point, and which is to build co-manufacturing, so basically, or simply put, OEM manufacturing for plant-based and alternative protein around the world on a regional production basis. So in other words, so we have a factory in the UK that serves Europe. We're building a factory here in Thailand together with PTT Group. So PTT is one of the region's largest companies, as well as one of the largest petroleum companies actually in the region, and they're aggressively transitioning away from that business into basically decarbonizing industries or low carbon industries. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then we're looking at building production capacity in China as well as in the US.
What kind of technology and R&D is involved to create this next evolution of food?
The technology today, if we're just looking at creating an industry around plant-based proteins, it's been there for a while. What I would say is the future, which is quite interesting, is the applications of these proteins, of these starches for higher value added products, as well as how can we move from to a molecular level, which is basically kind of the next 5 to 10 years, whether it's cell-based or whether it's synthetic bio, for example. How do we create kind of modern proteins, not just from, for example, mung beans, but also say for, using import sources which are, readily available in Thailand, such as sugar.
Is this something that NRF is working on?
Yes. So what we've done is we've taken a very long-term view of where the industry is headed. It already started in Singapore. Singapore was the first country to authorize the production and consumption of cell-based. Hopefully we'll play a role in that in Thailand. But yes, so we've taken that long curve by 2050, dial it back, and then we've basically been investing and preparing the technology as it becomes available, as we are able to commercially scale it, so that we can get these new modern proteins to a point where it's price parity with animal meat.
Closer to home in Thailand, Dan, you've bought over Golden Triangle Health. Now, this is an interesting acquisition because it gives you access to hemp, which has long been regarded as a forbidden plant because it's part of the cannabis family. It's also on the country's narcotics list until recently, when the government legalized commercial growing for medicinal and food purposes. You think hemp could create a big splash for you in the plant-based business?
Our purpose is really how do we decarbonize the world, right? And when it first became legalized and all the listed companies were looking at it, we took a serious look, like what we did with plant-based. And I think one of the interesting things about hemp is that it's 3 to 4 times more efficient in sequestering carbon than trees. When we looked at it from a nutritional perspective, it became even more interesting. So for example, like hemp milk, it's very nutritious. It's got its complete amino acid profile. It's got omega-3s, 6s. So arguably it's very good as an alternative dairy product. And so actually that's something we're actually working with here in Thailand. So I think hemp as a food product is super interesting. And I think there's going to be a massive explosion of this